Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live right here at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. It's Takeover. We've got 443 friendos live with us on the Twitch to discuss this. A couple of really good matches. You had sort of mentioned this to me before we went live. I don't want to out what you told me in private. If you'd like to reiterate that, we can discuss it a little bit about how you felt the nature of tonight's takeover was in the matches.
Oh, that apart from the main event, like I felt like any of the undercard matches could have just as easily been like a really good main event on NXT TV. I don't know if expectations were high because we knew that there would be more of a crowd. We thought that'd bring something extra to the show, and for the most part, that didn't necessarily play out. I know people have talked about the crowd being a little flat, save for moments of the main event. I don't know. There's something about something like that, like Takeover. There's a spark there. It wasn't a bad show. I don't make it sound like it was a bad show. It wasn't. It was perfectly fun. It was a breezy show. It was less than 2.5 hours. Fun watch. Yeah. Not a bad match on the card. There's a spark, a magic that Takeover has when it's hitting on all cylinders, where you watch a good or a great Takeover and you're like, man, you could easily, or some Takeovers, you could switch these matches around the card and like almost any of them could main event based on the quality of the match. Yeah. This just didn't feel like it was up to that same standard. Still a really good show, but it kind of felt like, and part of it speaks to the quality of NXT of like week in and week out, because ever since they moved to Tuesday nights, it feels like the pressure's off. They can just do what they want to do. Quality of the show, I feel like, is picked up too. So maybe the distance between NXT TV and Takeover is not as vast, it has been in years past.
I don't want anybody to interpret this as me crapping on NXT, because it's totally not. I kind of agree with you, and I think if you look at the actual roster of people who are on the show tonight, I feel like there aren't the same types of... Okay, so right now, the top two champions, the men's and women's champions, they're not necessarily... Well, one of them for sure. Cross is not a takeover wrestler. He's not the guy that's going to give you a 5-star match. That ain't happening. If you take him out of that main event, those 4 dudes, they are all walking 5-star match machines. That's fact. When they bring that up, they even bring that up in the storyline. He's a wrecking machine meant for main roster who's on NXT to try to give it some star power. But he's not a takeover level wrestler. Raquel Gonzalez, as terrific as she is, and she's a better wrestler than Karrion Kross is.
Oh, yeah, by far.
She's terrific. I don't know if they said, for example, and I know they had a match last week, but Ember Moon and Dakota Kai, I believe those are 2 takeover level wrestlers who can give you a 5-star match. I don't know that Raquel Gonzalez is there yet.
I will say her last woman standing match against Rhea Ripley was really damn good.
It was really damn good. It was
really good.
I think she's really close. Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, this is my favorite story coming in because it was a real story. These are 2 main roster guys. I don't even know that. I mean, Cameron Grimes is a terrific wrestler. I've never really seen like LA Knight is like he's going to come in and give you like a 5-star match. The ladder match was fine. It was physical. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was fine.
It wasn't on the level as if any of the 4 guys in that main event would give you a ladder match. It's not like a Ciampa Gargano ladder match, something like that.
Maybe part of the issue is because they decided to stack the main event so much.
Yeah.
They got 4 of their best wrestlers in the entire promotion in that match, and then Karrion Kross. Usually the card would be filled out with those guys mixed in somewhat. And then tonight. Sorry, let me get this one point out.
Yeah.
Tonight, I know you've been on Kross for a bit, not fitting in. I've been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. It was just glaring tonight.
Yeah.
Even the way the match was structured.
Yeah.
Here, Kross will come in, destroy everybody. Everybody will gang up on him, take him out, and then we'll have a lot of really exciting stuff. He comes in, destroys everybody. Repeat. It was just the same thing over and over. When he wasn't in the ring, the match was really, really like exceptionally good. When he was in the ring, it was pretty one note.
When you look at I was just going to bring up this real quick point. MSK and Reed versus Legado del Fantasma. I believe all those guys to be takeover level guys. They weren't given a whole lot of time. This match was just not very long. Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li, kind of the same deal. I think that they're both probably takeover level wrestlers. Didn't really give them a whole lot of time here. It was kind of just NXT TV matches. They're really good, but they're kind of TV matches. To your point, when you look back on guys like Keith Lee, Dijak, even now Bronson Reed, I think I think those three big men, Damian Priest, even takeover level big men. Cross ain't there, and his weaknesses were hidden in matches against Finn Balor, which was a really good match, and there was one other return match, Legado, because it was hidden because it was a street fight. And again, it's one-on-one. You have some interference, and they had really cool street fight things planned. The Finn match was actually a really legitimately good match. Finn carried that match, but Cross didn't look bad. Too,
that was wrestled at a pace that Cross is probably comfortable with,
Yeah. When you have him stumbling around this match with four other guys who are going 90 miles an hour, and this guy's capable of going 30, it's not going to work. And it doesn't help that Johnny Wrestling mentioned on the go home, want to try not to stumble your way over there. And it just echoes it. It just sort of puts a spotlight on him. And you look tonight and he is literally stumbling around trying to keep up with these guys. It doesn't work. It does not work.
There's something I brought up on our reaction stream too. It's interesting to see Triple H mortgage, for the time being, his promotion, NXT, in a match where basically the story of the match was these four guys are elite level wrestlers. Mm-hmm. They're some of the best wrestlers in the world, and we're in the ring together. It's some of the most exciting stuff wrestling has to offer.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Cross comes in, at first individually destroys them, and then slightly later collectively destroys them.
Yeah.
What are you trying to tell us about your promotion?
That's what I was saying before. You have made the decision that the Shawn Michaels mold, the smaller guy who can be match of the year guy, is what you're going to build your company on. But because they're the smaller guys, if you bring in a bigger main roster type guy whose strengths are he's big. His strength is he looks good. He can cut a good promo. He's got a great voice. The theatrics are awesome that they put around him. Scarlett's $1 million.
He's got a good Saito suplex.
He's got a good Saito suplex. You can make him look cool. But everything Adam Cole said is right. When the bell rings, NXT's thing is they've got the best wrestling in North America.
I'll toss this your way. So NXT in relation to AEW, by far struggle in the ratings. Mm-hmm. Since they've moved to Tuesday night, yes, initially there was a slight bump. They've kind of settled back to roughly where they were, around 700,000. And maybe this is either, I doubt it's like an edict from Vince, or maybe this is just a thought in Triple H's mind. All right, we focused on really good wrestling. That's got us this far. Mm-hmm. What if we have a guy in NXT, something we haven't had before really, an attraction? Somebody people will tune to see because of theatrics, because of the promo, because of his look, because of what he can do physically in terms of destroying people in the ring. Let's try that as the face of our company and see if that'll draw more eyeballs. Kind of, in a way, make NXT a little bit more main roster, classic WWE in that sense, to see if that'll work in terms of up in the ratings at all.
Mm-hmm. And no, I don't know. That's exactly, I think, what we both kind of thought when he was signed to NXT. And then we saw what he was bringing in terms of his wrestling, because neither of us were terribly familiar with his in-ring stuff. And then you see how they bring him in, and we looked at some of his stuff from, before he came in NXT. It's like, okay, he was a much more competent wrestler before NXT.
Yeah, he had a really good match with Timothy Thatcher. I know Timothy Thatcher is a really good technical wrestler.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He had a really good match against Timothy Thatcher in FSW out of Vegas. He had a good match against Mox in FSW. I think if it's a slower paced, mat-based match, I think he is. I think that's where his training is. I think his training is in catch wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why they have repeatedly said, okay, we're not going to do that. We're not going to necessarily play to your strengths in the ring. We're going to have you go out there and be a destroyer. But he's not even like a Braun Strowman level of destroyer, when Braun was just like tearing through everybody, ripping stuff down.
Yeah.
If he's going to come in and be a destroyer, then have him like really destroy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not going to do that, then play to his strengths. So that's something we haven't seen in NXT either. Is a guy of that size, like pick people apart.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, I know he's not going to do it as fast as Pete Dunne, because Pete Dunne is a great technical wrestler who can work joints, get off 5 different submission moves in a span of like 30 seconds. I know Cross isn't going to do that, but if he's in there and he's working a body part meticulously and telling a good story doing it, I'll be invested in that way more than him just, I mean, I like watching him do a side to the suplex.
Yeah.
But if it means him trying to keep up with people who have wrestled in PWG for a number of years and are used to working at a really fast pace, and watching him struggle to keep up, I'd much rather see him wrestle the type of match that he's best at wrestling, even if it is slower.
Yeah. I'm looking at Keith Lee's rundown, and Keith Lee, unfortunately, was not champion very long. He Dijak's another big man. He fought him at TakeOver Portland. He did fight Gargano at In Your House, which I recall probably was a great match. He did fight Adam Cole. But I feel like Keith Lee would have been that thing, and because he could keep up. Like, Keith Lee's a guy who I'd be excited to see as the big man component of this Fatal 5-Way, because, man, he could do he complements the smaller guy so much with his size, and he did all the cool spots. But Cross is not as creative, as interesting, or as graceful a wrestler as Keith Lee is. And so we're just not getting that. And it's a clash of styles. And I just don't know, where does he go from here? Like, where does he fit in? Like, what's going to be next for him? You know, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll find out. I maybe he'll hold on to it until the draft, and maybe they'll draft him out of NXT to main roster. Because if the ratings don't improve with him, I mean, the thing is, the people are going to tune in NXT for the wrestling. You know, it's going to be NXT gets their buzz from the matches, not necessarily the stories. The matches are the thing there. So I mean, if they do want to compete, on cable TV in prime time during the week, if they want to grow their brand, you gotta run with what brought you to the dance, and that's the wrestling.
If your established thing is we're the best pro wrestling promotion on the planet, and I think that's what NXT wants to be, then say this is what we are, this is what we're put out there, and do your best to market that and create the stars in NXT while putting on those matches. These larger than life superstars that people want to tune in to see,
Yeah. But it was a decent takeover, but the days of us saying, oh my God, this is the best takeover ever, those are probably gone for now anyways. Because I just don't know. It doesn't seem likely that anybody, I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know. There's no contenders. He just made Kyle O'Reilly pass out.
I mean, he beat the 4 top guys.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He didn't quite stack him, but yeah. So anyways, let's go ahead and hop into this. It's kicked off with, I'll be honest, a lot of this. So the main event had some great beats. The co-main event had some great beats.
Well, let's bring this up real quick before we get to the
the Regal thing.
The Regal thing, because I think that's going to be what a lot of people are talking about, which I think kind of because I understand Regal has been GM of NXT for a while. So at the end of the show, he's leaving. Mackenzie catches up with him for an interview, and he more or less says, I've been doing this for 6 years. It's never been more out of control. Things need to change. In short, and then he walks away off into the parking lot.
I'm a sad man.
That he's going to leave.
He was sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but throughout the show,
he was stretched thin.
There were brawls going all over the place. So that we understand his mindset.
Yeah, totally. The fact that that's what they closed the show with, the fact that that's probably what people are going to be talking about most. I mean, even the chat here, who's going to replace Regal as GM? How is this angle going to play out? That's kind of overshadowing the rest of this takeover.
Do you think that's intentional? It's a big story beat, and the fact that there were no surprises on this card, and we'll talk about my predictions victory when we're done with the recap, just so that we can get, for people who don't want the self-indulgence, you can be saved from that. As you roll your eyes in the back of your head.
It's just it's like
we'll just wait. Just hold. You have a week. You have a week, and you probably have a very good chance in a week.
It's just 3 out of the last 4 shows where it's like, I would have had the same exact picks as you, basically the same exact picks.
That ain't always going to be the case.
You know,
it's not always going to be the case.
It's been the case for a lot of late. A lot.
Right, we'll get to that later. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about that. Is it so? Of course, we've all heard the reporting that Samoa Joe has been seen at the Performance Center. There's a rumor that WWE might want to get him back. Nobody knows for certain what his clearance level is in terms of what can he do. Is he able to wrestle? There was, he had mentioned in kind of abstract terms a couple months ago before his release that, I think it was something along the lines of, we're all working on getting me cleared. If he is not cleared, if he can't go or if he looks at the landscape and says, well, AEW could probably use me either on commentary or backstage or as an authority figure. But NXT, where I had a great deal of success, wants me to come in and replace Regal. That's a possibility. That could totally be the case. I
don't know for certain. I would guess if Joe's injuries are such that he's not cleared yet, and he's looking to continue on in a non-wrestling capacity, doing something with WWE might be, potentially, I don't know what people are paying who or what, might be potentially the most lucrative option for him too. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a number of reasons. There's a number of possibilities. You mentioned it when we talked about this this past week. Who knows what the travel situation's like? Maybe, it could just simply be Triple H. If he decides to stay with WWE, Triple H gave him the strongest pitch. Maybe it's monetarily, the dates he's working. Hey, we can work on getting you cleared. You've been here a while now. Maybe sometimes people like stability. I know.
There's a comfort level knowing what you're getting into.
Exactly. I know where my checks are coming from, and they clear every week. Yep. And so maybe that's a possibility. He seems to be the strongest possibility to replace Regal, given the rumors.
Or assuming. So a couple weeks ago, they had one of those Diamond Mine vignettes where it said "coming soon." Maybe Regal's going to bring in Diamond Mine. To be his new security to keep order in place in NXT, because apparently it's just gotten way too out of control for him.
That could be.
That's another possibility.
A strong security contingent. They can make a whole story out of that. Maybe they start getting a little too rambunctious or a little too ambitious, and that gets out of Regal's control. Who knows? I like that idea. Roderick Strong still hasn't been seen, and Regal paid him respect when he resigned, when he quit. Maybe, and I wouldn't necessarily want that because Roderick Strong is like A-level wrestler.
Yes.
I want to see that dude wrestle. I thought he could have been killer in that match tonight. But yeah, just him needing a change doesn't mean he's retiring. It could mean, like you said, he's bringing in some stronger muscle than the PC lumps he's got now.
Yep.
So that's a distinct possibility. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're watching us on the YouTube, if you're listening to us in the audio realm, hey, hit us up on the Twitter at Real Going In Raw. Let us know who you think or what this plan of Regal's is to change things for a change. Every week, War Games. They won't mess around then. Kicked off with MSK and Bronson Reed versus Legado del Fantasma.
If this was a TV main event, I've been like, man, this was great.
All the champions.
TV main event.
The thing is, if it was a TV main event, it probably would have gone longer.
I know. They would give it 25 minutes. Instead, they got like 12.
You think this got 12? I'm going to see if it's been updated because it didn't feel very long.
So
right?
I checked the time because it seemed short to me. So I checked the time when the match ended. I think it was 5:21, I want to say. 5:18, 5:20. No, those two numbers, if you look at them, they look nothing alike. But there was an extended intro package that kicked off right at 5. How long was it?
13:40.
All right.
This was a very brisk pay-per-view. It was 13:40.
It was under 2.5 hours. Under 2.5 hours.
Guess how long Xia Li versus Mercedes Martinez was?
9.
7 minutes and 40 seconds. LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. That was the one match that I was like, this is actually going longer than it should.
17.
19:30.
Okay. Raquel and Ember felt about 12.
Very good. 12:40, and the main event.
Main event, about 20.
26. Yeah, that was the longest match on the card. But yeah, generally speaking, a pretty quick. I'm surprised they only gave well, they had the aftermatch shenanigans with Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the first match, it was fun enough. MSK and Reed versus Legado. Everybody, my note here was everybody got their shit in, and the first note after that was, holy crap, a Phantom Driver to Reed, which was broken up. That was a flawless Phantom Driver from Santos to.
So early Reed. On, Santos is like he wants no part of Bronson Reed.
Mm-hmm.
None of it. He wants none of them whatsoever. And when I saw that, I'm like, all right, yeah, Santos, Legado's probably not winning. I mean, I kind of felt that way to begin with. When I saw that was kind of the story they're running with early, I was like,
yeah.
Usually that's when someone has that mentality, it doesn't pan out for them getting the W at the end.
Right,
you know?
Right, yeah.
You know, they tried to, when he did that Phantom Driver, which was seamless, flawless, fantastic. Flawless, yeah. They got broken up by Nash Carter. I was like, oh, okay, cool. They gave him a spot. But then, so later on, so right after that, Legado hits their finish on Carter. Wesley's in to break that up with somersault senton off the apron. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut to Santos, and he's just like wandering over the timekeeper area, and he grabs the North American title and just starts staring at it.
And he starts like yelling into the camera. And then you said during the live stream, oh, he's about to get sandwiched. And then seconds later, this, you know, the bus Bronson Reed comes running in, completely annihilates him.
He just didn't get sandwiched. He gets put through the barricade.
And Reed gets right back up. It doesn't even really put Reed up because then they have to do their finish after that.
Yeah, so MSK hits a pretty cool burning hammer, double stomp to the floor on, I think, Joaquin Wilde, and then hit their finish on Mendoza. They tag in Bronson Reed. He has to splash off the top to get the W.
Yeah.
So they get to keep all their belts.
All the titles, just like me. After that, we have... you
don't have all the ones. I got
that new... I am still not Ultimo.
And I still got this.
Get that out of here. That's
this is part of it. And you know what?
That's an art project.
I'm the winner for the day because I have... What's this called? The Easy Rock Collection.
Are you really going to give that? We need to do a big giveaway for that because that is a... Man, and I want to be...
8 volumes. There's over 100 tracks on this.
I feel like that needs to be put up for SummerSlam. I'll put up a valued collection of some sort.
All right. It will be 8 volumes of Easy Rock classics.
I don't know if I can beat that. How about my Star Trek The Next Generation companion book? That means a lot to me.
Now, if I really want to put something up, I would put up this. The Chicago Bulls Learning to Fly. Commemorative VHS of them winning their first title.
That's going
1991.
I would never ask you to part with that. Anyways, after that, we were in the NXT parking lot, the most dangerous place to be in professional wrestling, and Kyle O'Reilly's rocking a NoFX shirt. And then the Way show up. They all just start shoving each other. And then, you know, Regal and his team come in, break it up. Enough of this!
For the first time. I think there's 3 times tonight that he had to break shit up.
Yeah. Then we had Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li. Is Xia Li or Xia Li? Xia. Golly.
Xia.
Oh, Xia.
I think it's Xia Brookside and Xia Li.
Oh, they're different?
I think so.
Xia Brookside, Xia Li. Man, I'll never get it. Anyways, I'm still figuring out who the Revival are. Gotta love that Tian Sha entrance.
Theme is fantastic.
The theme is it's so intense. I love it. And this time Xia Li had a massive, it was like sort of a sword / machete type gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic. She was doing all sorts of great moves with it. Unfortunately, it didn't come into play during this match. It'd been cool to see somebody get the old Darth Maul treatment. Split in half.
Oh, my goodness.
But like CG, like cheesy NXT, right? And then Mercedes Martinez.
CG blood.
Yeah, Mercedes Martinez gets sent to like main roster. They just, you know, she's
just no sell it. Sort of like Miz being turned to a zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mercedes got plenty of offense, and she has this great looking like razor's edge into a dominator thing. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I just seen her do that before. She hits Xia with a bunch of knees, misses one. Xia tries to roll her up, kicks out, and then Mercedes hits her with a running knee. Then Boa pulls Xia Li out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes follows, and then Xia tries to attack her, runs into a backdrop. Eventually, though, Xia calls for Boa to... Oh, this is after the win. Sorry. So back in the ring, Xia just pushes Mercedes into the ropes, hits her spin kick finish for the win. After that, Xia calls to Boa to toss a chair into the ring. He does. She's about to swing at Mercedes. Mercedes boots her, picks up the chair, decks Boa with it, starts hitting Xia and Boa with the chair. And then Mei Ying appears on the stage again. Maybe she's been there the whole time. Mercedes isn't scared. She takes the chair to Xia Li again. Mei Ying stands up. She starts walking down the ramp. Mercedes gets out of the ring. She starts walking up to her, unfazed. And then Mei Ying grabs her by the throat, starts choking her. Mercedes hits her with the chair. Mei Ying sells it for like a half a second, grabs her by the throat again, and then throws her into the barricade.
Yeah, and she lands down in the gulf there, in the trench there between the ramp and the barricade.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first kind of action we've seen Mei Ying in, and it was pretty cool. It's kind of Darth Vader-ish. After that, we had, this was straight from NXT TV. It was just Ciampa and Thatcher with a promo calling out grizzled young veterans for Tuesday's Tornado Rules match. It was announced later on. This match is happening Tuesday, and then the Kushida's got another open challenge on Tuesday as well. And these promos I'm just not really into, to be honest with you. I really like Ciampa and Thatcher as a team, but just screaming at the camera, I just don't feel it. Like, these guys are scaring enough. They don't need to. They lessen the scare factor when they just shout at me, because they're a couple of true badasses. And then at the very end, Thatcher says "boo," and then they like run away, like on either side. It was just
and the
really
chairs tumble over.
It was corny. It was just corny. But that's gonna be That's gonna be a terrific.
It's gonna be a fun match. It's gonna be a fun match. After that, we had a ladder match for the $1 million championship. LA Knight.
Oh yeah! Wow. Oh, physical match for LA Knight.
Dummy.
Hey, guess what?
Cameron Grimes.
$1 Million Man comes out first. And they have the championship in a nice glass briefcase type thing. It's a case with a handle, so it's a briefcase, but it's also glass. So then they put that up, they raise it up, and then $1 Million Man goes and sits down. So a couple times during the match, LA Knight and Grimes go over to him and consult. Hey, this is what I'm doing right now. It's like a big job interview, basically. This whole match.
Basically,
this is what I'm doing right now. And $1 Million Man's like, yeah, I don't care. Just go get the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. You're what you tell me. You don't have the title because you didn't win the match.
Yeah, you got to show your bona fides by winning the match. That's what you got to do.
Credentials. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. There were some fun spots in here. Tables set up in corners, bridged between barricade and apron. People, whether it be LA Knight, Cameron Grimes, will get then slammed onto those spots. It's pretty typical ladder match fare. Down the stretch, Cameron Grimes crawls out to the stage. Knight throws a ladder at him. He starts to set up a ladder contraption where he puts one ladder upright, bridges a ladder from a rung on the ladder upright to the middle rope. So that's going to come and play for the finish, because it seems very dramatic and scary and painful.
Yeah.
While he's doing all that, Cameron Grimes, the opportunity to come to, he hits Knight with a PK. Knight then whips Grimes. This is on the floor on the other side by commentary, towards the ladder. Grimes then jumps onto the ladder. Knight pushes the ladder over. While that's happening, Grimes jumps from the ladder to the lighting tower next to commentary, hits a splash off that onto LA Knight. He goes back in the ring, starts climbing the golden ladder. LA Knight comes back in, tries to hit a powerbomb off the ladder. Grimes instead Ranas him out of the ring. Grimes back in. He starts climbing. And the Knight pushes the ladder over and puts Grimes through that 2-ladder contraption he had set up earlier. And then he sets up the ladder again, climbs it, grabs the title. DiBiase presents him with it. I was really hoping there'd be it's a ladder match. You really can't bend the rules because there are no rules. You really can't cheat because there's no rules.
Yeah.
But LA Knight would find a way to kind of in an underhanded fashion win the belt.
Yeah, I agree with this. This wasn't. Yeah, there's two things. You bring up a really good point. I agree with it. On top of that, look, this is a really physical match. I don't want to crap on this match. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a killer match. It was a killer match, right? Why wasn't there a cave-in from the ladder, or whatever LA Knight calls his finish, or even a gravy train, his old finish, as a signature, which is just an air raid crash from the ladder. They didn't really reference any of their stuff. They didn't get their shit in.
No, it didn't seem like they really got their shit in to say. Right. And I felt like from a story perspective, there's one major beat missing that would make me upset that LA Knight won this match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, Cameron Grimes is the face. It should be a situation where, like, at no point, even when he's reaching and batting for the case, I'm not like, I don't feel like, maybe because I'm really familiar with the tropes of ladder matches, but I don't really feel like there's ever a point where he was so close to winning that LA Knight snatched victory from him. You know what I mean? No,
you're absolutely right. And the thing is, we're both familiar with ladder match tropes and conventions, and we saw this like 5 moves out. We saw the win, and it's NXT. That shouldn't be the case. And it's like I feel like number one, this match was oddly 7 minutes too long, and yet still kind of predictable in that extra time, like where they went. Like there wasn't. You're right. There wasn't the emotional like heft that the story kind of deserved, because the story's been really good.
I don't feel heartbroken for Cameron Grimes. He lost this match. I'm not mad that LA Knight won.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if LA Knight's the heel here, and by my understanding, he is.
He should do some dastardly shit.
He should take it too far. Something. He should do something.
Right. Too far. Yeah, exactly.
LA Knight won. Well, I'm not mad that he won. Am I upset that Cameron Grimes? Am I crestfallen for Cameron Grimes that he lost in this bid to be $1 million champion?
Yeah, right. Like we should be like, oh man, it was his. It was his. Instead, he did the typical like cat batting out of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like there's one major story beat missing from the end of this match that really drove home how close Cameron Grimes was to getting it. And man, LA Knight had to do something really dastardly to take it from him.
Even if it was this, even if it was $1 Million Man has his bodyguards. If they trashed Cameron Grimes to ensure LA Knight won, and then in the end, $1 Million Man says, I never would have chosen you. Like when McMahon did that to the Rock, to Mankind when the Rock won at Survivor's, like
exactly.
I was never gonna go with you. Look at you, you smell, and you admit that you smell. You're never gonna carry on this legacy. And he rigs it, although I know it's NXT, but this match is a very main roster-ish match. It's the $1 Million title. Like, you can have it be rigged against Cameron Grimes, and then it's like, oh, that was messed up. Now I hate LA Knight because he was gifted this thing, but he still puts in a hell of a performance, and so you can appreciate it.
Yes, exactly.
But then $1 Million Man basically says, no, this is my guy right here.
Yeah. Yeah. That would make all the sense.
Yeah.
It made all the sense.
After that, we have, I think you might have missed this. It was
I caught the tail end of this. It's Hit Row with Todd Pettengill.
Todd Pettengill was doing a WWE shop commercial, and then Hit Row interrupts and, sort of takes over the commercial. They shill their own stuff. They've got a song. I think it's their theme that's available right now, Spotify and all those streaming services. So Pettengill not having a great time hosting.
Didn't seem to have a good night in your house. So
Not
next
really.
we have Pete Dunne and Karrion Kross being held apart backstage. Regal's there, of course. We'll see him one more time, trying to break up a fight.
It's too much.
And then we get Ember Moon challenging Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship. Really good match. Another match I felt like didn't get enough time.
What I said this was this 19?
12 minutes.
12,
12
wow,
minutes.
only 12 minutes. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Ember Moon is one of the best wrestlers on the roster, hands
She's
down.
one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Ember Moon
She's
is
so good.
terrific.
She's so good.
Yeah, she is.
Raquel Gonzalez is really good.
She's really good.
Like the finish of this, I thought was tons of fun, especially down the stretch. It was really fun.
Yeah,
I just felt like I wish there was a few more building blocks to get there. So down the stretch, Raquel goes for a suplex after she. At one point, sorry, I'll backtrack a little bit. So Dakota Kai tries to get involved. Shotzi comes out, chases her off backstage. Raquel goes for a suplex. Moon counters that with a stunner, hits a jawbreaker, a leaping code breaker off second rope. Goes back up top, hits. This is when Shotzi comes out. Hits an eclipse, and seamlessly Dakota Kai runs over around the ring post, grabs Raquel's foot, puts it on the rope, and it kind of hides back behind the ring post before the ref can even so much as notice her.
It was
so well done.
Fluid. Like, dude,
so
every
well
time somebody does that spot, I swear, like, everybody's so fumbly, you know? It's like, Dakota Kai. It was great. Yeah, it was awesome.
And then back to where she was. It was great. So then that's when Shotzi comes out. She chases Dakota Kai backstage. But first tosses her to planner on the stage. Called plants.
Yeah.
So then Ember and Raquel are kind of battling for position on the apron near the turnbuckle, near the corner. Ember hits Tornado DDT onto the ramp. Is slow to get Raquel back in the ring. Because of that, only gets to 2. She goes to other Eclipse. Raquel blocks that, hits Snake Eyes on the top turnbuckle. And then she does this weird transition. So after Ember hits the top turnbuckle, she lands at her feet and stumbles backwards. So Raquel kind of picks her up midair, twists her around on one arm, and hits her finish.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was awesome. It was really good. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, man. Maybe it was just the length of this match. Like, it should have been a lot longer just to justify, hey, this is TakeOver. It's 20 minutes or nothing.
I know. I think a good, well-told story and a well-paced 20 minutes brings a big fight feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and some of these matches, you can tell early on, all right, this is going to be like a 12-minute match.
Yeah, big fight feel is the thing that that a lot of these matches were lacking, you know? I totally agree with that. And it's one of those things where you can NXT, one of NXT's tangibles is their ability to give us big fight feel, you know? There are ways to do it. But yeah, I kind of feel like I think that sort of solidifies your point. There's kind of a bunch of NXT TV matches.
You know why? This is in your house, Steve. It's a B-level pay-per-view.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, it's just in your house. What does it matter?
It's in your house.
There's going to be one. I think it's SummerSlam next month, right?
Yeah, in August. Yeah.
Well, that's probably
2 months.
maybe
2 months.
2 months. Yeah, geez. Yeah, they'll do a big fight feel there. Cross versus I don't know, Reed. Who knows?
Maybe. So we get a quick bit with Todd Pettengill backstage. He talks about how it hasn't been a good night for him. People have been calling him old, et cetera, et cetera. But he says, now it's time to play my favorite game, Karate Fighters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so he set up. Dexter Lumis stands in front of him as his opponent. They start playing, and eventually Dexter Lumis takes Todd's fighter in his hand, smashes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says, "Oh, fine, you get the win. Then you get the win." After that, we get a commercial for the Great American Bash. It's coming back
July 6th.
That should be fun.
That should be fun. And then on his way out for the main event, John Gargano walks by another pull-apart brawl between Shotzi and Dakota Kai. That, of course, Regal is trying to break that up too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's too much. Too much. Time for a change.
And then we get our main event, and like I said earlier, like literally they set the beginning of this matchup where everybody. So first off, Pete Dunne and Gargano, they pair off. Cole and O'Reilly, they pair off, and Karrion Kross is in the ring just standing there. No one's going after him.
Like why didn't they all just immediately go after him? Because he's like, the guy they need to take out.
So eventually, everybody gets a solo crack at Kross.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might not be immediately, but Kross fends him off individually. Cole's the last one to get a solo crack at him. Then eventually everybody else pulls him out of the ring, traps him against the apron, hits him with a bunch of shots, tosses him back in to Kross. Kross, beats him up a bit. Then everyone's in, and then Kross destroys them all.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
O'Reilly it comes in, he hits some kicks, but then he goes after Cole, looks for an arm bar. Dunn comes over. He goes, when Kross is in the match, this is a really good takeover quality fatal four-way match. It's really good.
Yeah,
I could describe what they do. And even saying it in words, it doesn't do the creativity of some of these spots justice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Where Pete Dunne is going for like a double arm bar and breaking two people's fingers at the same time.
That was rad. There was a bit where Dunne does he tries to do the flip. He like runs up the ring post.
Yeah, like Daniel Bryan does. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets like stereo super kicked. That was great. Yeah, whenever he wasn't in this match, it was just all the cool shit. They all got their cool shit in, and all the creativity just comes flowing out. And then this dude comes stumbling in, and then they all like, we have to sell some suplexes.
Yeah, so while Dunn's doing that bit where he's got the double arm bar, try to break fingers on Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, Kross comes back in, power bombs Gargano on Dunn and Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, takes over for a while. They make the way out to the stage, and then Dunn and Gargano break up a power bomb that Kross trying to do to Cole, and they shove him through the door of the sets. That keeps him out of the match for a while. Mm-hmm. And then we get a lot of really fun, creative stuff.
Everything gets really cool there, yeah.
Eventually, then, Kross comes back. He pulls Kyle O'Reilly out of the ring when he's doing his rebound lariat. He then lays out everyone. Ringside hits a nasty looking choke bomb on Gargano onto the corner of the apron.
Yeah.
Puts Gargano back in the ring, hits an F5, gets 2. Eventually, though, he's taken out when he gets power bombed onto the announce table.
Mm-hmm.
Again. There it is. It didn't break, though. So then we get a lot of really fun stuff. Gargano's going for a double Gargano escape on Cole and Pete Dunne. O'Reilly breaks it up with a running knee. Kyle O'Reilly goes up the top. Cole pushes him off, hits Panama Sunrise on Gargano. Dunne pulls him off the pin, hits a brainbuster on him on the floor. Then Cross emerges from behind the announce table. Dunne gets in the ring, waves him in. They trade German suplexes. Pete hits a bitter end, gets a 2. Dunne locks on a triangle. Everyone in to break it up. So the one thing about this match, they really did do something probably to set up Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross next. Pete Dunne had the best showing individually against Karrion Kross, I think, of anybody.
Yeah, he totally did. Yeah.
So Adam Cole goes for a low blow on Pete Dunne. He catches it. He's about to break his fingers. Kross then hits both Cole and Dunne with a double Saito suplex. Forearms Cole out of the ring. Sinks the cross jacket on Dunne. Dunne starts to fade. Then he breaks out of it by snapping Kross's fingers. Gargano then hits Dunne with one final beat. Kross puts Gargano in the cross jacket. Gargano tries to roll through to get a pin. Kross kicks out, keeps the hold on. Cole breaks it up with the last shot. And then Kyle O'Reilly hits Cole with an axe kick. Hits the top rope knee on Kross. Covers. Cole breaks that pin up with a super kick. He's super kicking everyone else. He goes for a last shot on Kyle O'Reilly. He ducks it, sinks at a heel hook on Cole. He's not tapping out. Kross is up. He puts the cross jacket on O'Reilly. O'Reilly's passing out. Cole's not tapping out. And eventually Kyle O'Reilly has to let go of the heel hook. He passes out. Kross wins.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Maggie here in chat says, I just saw a WWE backstage clip of Kross where he cut a little promo and said, I just punched a hole through the Mount Rushmore of NXT. She says, thought that was a pretty cool line. It's a good line. And I mean, yeah, he did totally do that. I stumbled my way through the Mount Rushmore of NXT.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like that he was selling the finger breaking from Dunne. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
He really took that seriously.
And then at the end, we mentioned earlier the William Regal interview. He's walking outside. Mackenzie Mitchell's following him. He says, I've been GM for 7 years. Never seen so much bedlam. I think it's time for a change. And he turns around and walks out.
Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Yeah. So, as we mentioned at the head of the show, the Big Red is currently in Los Angeles, but the property is mine still. I retain.
So, it was another situation where if I'd picked the way I want to, it would have been another tie. So,
yeah.
So, actually, last 4 shows, if I'd picked the way I wanted to, they all would have ended in ties, I believe. I think a double or nothing, I'd take some chances, go against what I probably would have done, ended in a tie. Oh, I would have won actually a double nothing if I stuck it out because
you would have won a double or nothing if you would have gone with what you wanted.
With the last one, WrestleMania Backlash, would have been a tie.
Yesterday you got screwed.
Yeah,
by
won.
Takeover. Would have won that one.
Instead tie, and then today, I knew LA Knight was going that damn ladder match. I had to pick Grimes. It's the only chance I had. Lost by a point.
Yeah.
You and Enforcer tied. So I want to do something. So in the event of a tie, there's something we can do. So there's a tiebreaker.
It's the champion's advantage. We do that already.
But here's the thing: you get the first pick. So we have to have like distinct answers. Since you're champion, you get the first crack at it. Just mull it over your head. Think about it.
Here's my counter to that, though. You have lots. We all have. Number one, I actually would rather figure out our title scene in general. Get that out of here. Just send me the playlist and I'll put them all on my Spotify.
But there's something great about having the cover art. Look at these palm trees.
There is something great about that's a possession of yours that I want.
Yes.
But
4 discs, 8 volumes. That means 2 discs per case.
I know it's a lot. There are lots. Just literally a week from today, you could be celebrating your victory. I'm more interested, given that the Enforcer has become so integral in all this. I just don't know how to.
Well, there's one thing I did mention. I didn't consider till right now. We discussed yesterday, injecting a wild card into the whole proceedings.
Yeah, Mothman.
With Mothman. And here's the thing. I don't know if we want to talk about it now. I guess we could if we want to do this.
It's an idea. It's an idea we are considering. This is not in stone, but yes.
Yes. So the basic idea is to throw some unpredictability into these predictions. We're going to have Mothman be contested.
Yeah.
But obviously Mothman isn't real. Mothman can't make
it.
And if Mothman...
Whoa, buddy.
Hold your tongue. Let me finish. And if Mothman were real, I doubt he would watch pro wrestling. Too busy flying into light. So... since Mothman isn't real, what we're going to do, potentially, maybe, it's still up for discussion. I don't know how logistics doing this is going to work out.
No idea.
So we'll mention it here, and like a lot of things you mentioned, it could never come to fruition.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But we'll just put it out there. Maybe people, sometimes we do this. We put it out there. Friendos offer up suggestions about how to make things work better than we could ever think about. So here's the idea. Once a month, a lucky friendo will get a pick for Mothman.
Yeah, right.
So if Mothman wins, that does not mean that we will send you the title.
Right. Yeah. Right. This just means Mothman has it. Yeah.
Mothman has it. But you can brag to your friends and family that you, as Mothman, bested Steve, Enforcer in predictions.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Again, you don't get mailed the title.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a way. And this is the part of the show where if you don't care about this self-indulgent bullshit, you could just turn it off. It's fine. Just go along.
Yeah, it's fine.
But there are people out here who care about this stuff. So up until now, it's been like you versus me for the titles to become Ultimo. But then there's the Enforcer who's going for the Trios title, which is you versus me versus him. Well, given that he's on every single, and the main reason why we don't include him in the entire title scene has just been like a shipping issue. Like we'd have to be shipping these titles every single way. But there's like 3 pay-per-views, 3 events every single month these days.
I know.
There's a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to think of a way that all 3 of us can try to either attain Ultimo status or we just elevate Big Red to be not the Trios title, but the Going in Raw Universal Championship. And I don't really know exactly how to go about that. So there's a lot of things with the title. That being said, so before I currently like the champion's advantage for the tie. I like that. However, I love the idea of increasing the opportunities for everybody to win stuff because there's already, I mean, right now we've got, you've got Mothman. That idea I think is a solid one. Like I said, next week there's a pay-per-view. I don't know what's going down June 26th or June 27th, but it wouldn't shock me if there's something.
Nothing.
There's nothing there. Okay. I mean, look, AEW is going to be doing in July. They're going to be doing Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen probably.
Yeah.
It's AEW title's going to be up for those. There's no reason for it not to be.
Though they're just regular TV shows?
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. They treat them like they're pay-per-views. And I'm a fighting champ, but I have no problem I could sit. You can see it back there, barely.
See something shiny.
I could sit on this until September 5th. But what kind of champion would I be to be sitting on this for 4 months? That would suck.
I wish that was your attitude back when there was that one Impact show we didn't cover. And I was like, hey, let's put the Impact. Of course, you had the title. Let's do predictions for this Impact show. I think it was Under Siege. You're like, we're not watching it, so we're not going to do predictions for it.
You're right. And I've had a change of heart. And I'm saying this as the guy with the championship to lose. So that's why the champion's advantage of a tie, I'm fine with because I'm fine putting these titles up.
Beans from the East says every Dynamite in July is special branded. They shouldn't count.
Well, okay, there is a limit. Like Fight for the Fallen and Fyter Fest
are 3 weeks. That's 3 of the 4 episodes. It's 2-week Fyter Fest.
Well, we can do a thing where we'll combine Fighter. Maybe let's just
combine
all
4. Fest. All 4. Let's combine them all. Whoever wins cumulatively over the entire month gets it.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure some. Maybe we'll just do one of them. I don't know. We'll do something fun for that. But so yeah, we'll figure all that out. But I think being Ultimo #1 should be something that all 3 of us are aiming for. because it makes it more difficult for me and you because it should be the hardest thing to do. But I also think that the titles need to be on the line all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Not every single week, not for every Raw, mind you, but monthly SmackDown. I'm sorry, monthly WWE pay-per-views. NXT's. I have to look at the Takeover schedule, but like those are fairly regular. I mean, there's another one coming. Basically. Yeah, it's every other month basically. I think, and adding NXT to the WWE schedule, like that's all WWE. So I think that we can, the three of us can put our heads together. We can figure out a way to settle our title scene. But yeah, we'll figure it. I mean, we're gonna do something fun with the G1. I think.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
We're gonna do picks, and whoever wins, who has the most points coming to the G1, we'll get the IWGP title back.
But it could be like the Universal title. Could be even like Big Red. Could be if we get like a Winged Eagle title. Big Red could be like, hey, whoever has the most points cumulatively, like for all the pay-per-views, but I don't know, somebody might start running away with it, in which case...
That sounds kind of like this.
Well, I know, but that's an art project.
No, it's going into Rock Cup. There's a pizza on the line. Potentially
two pizzas. There's two pizzas on the line. So yeah, we'll figure it all out, but there will be plenty of opportunities for you to win. You got screwed yesterday at Impact.
I did.
You got screwed, but I'm
still a little salty about that.
But if I had logically seen through, hey, there's no way Trey Miguel's not going to be vying for the X Division title at Slammiversary. There's no way Ace Austin's not going to be vying for it. There's no way they're going to keep Maple Leaf Muscle out of that. There's no way they're going to keep those guys out of Rohit Raju been doing all that great work. Of course it's going to be a no contest because it's Impact.
But you wouldn't have thought that before.
You wouldn't have thought that. Nobody ever would have thought that.
It's hindsight.
Nobody would have thought that. But I did think, what did I say? I said at Slammiversary, they're going to do something with all those other X Division guys. Of course they're going to be in the title match. They're not going to have an X Division title match without a title. So the only way they could do it is a no contest.
Ultimate X.
Or King of the Mountain. The best match, King of the Mountain.
Never seen one. Mixed reviews. It's my understanding.
Mixed reviews. But yeah, man, I want to put all these titles on the line so that when one of us.
So I'll say this. Let's continue our current path till SummerSlam because that seems like a major event. Big events. To kind of culminate this arc.
Okay.
Out of SummerSlam, then we can go from there.
Okay, good. That sounds good. We'll have between then and SummerSlam to figure it out.
Here's another thing too: is that after SummerSlam and the new draft, this will have culminated.
The art project, yeah,
going into Rock Cup.
Maybe we'll do a 3-man draft.
3-man draft. You can draft from any promotion.
Okay, all right, but I still don't like that being part of Ultimo.
All right, well it doesn't have to be next time. This year it is. It is this year. Okay. It's already been established. It's part of Ultimo.
No, it's not.
It has. Just because you say no doesn't mean it's not. It's been established.
Well, I think Ultimo is the eye of the beholder.
No, I think it's subjectively you got to have everything.
This is just
silliness. This is part of everything.
It's silliness. Anyways, Switch Chat, stick around. We'll answer some of your questions. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Let us know what you thought of the of Takeover in the comments below. Do us a big favor. Hit that thumbs up. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.